but I always
That's
like
our
to
business. Yeah,
make sure if we're
yeah.
in.
We haven't done it for a while.
That's what I told Debbie. I said, or in Lacey yesterday, I said, we haven't met in a month. We need to get the computer out,
Yeah.
make sure that it works. And
Oh
all
my
of
goodness,
that.
yeah.
And of course. Video unavailable. This
Huh.
video is private. Go to home.
Good, busy. Yeah. I'm just,
This meeting is being live streamed.
I mean.
Debbie, can you see your
Generally,
Okay. Yeah.
I stay inside
It's got the audio.
and.
And it's got the audio? Okay.
So. My
Okay.
site's been pretty quiet overall.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We do have video.
We do, but we're live streaming on YouTube.
Okay, cool. All right. You heard anything from Max?
Not except that I do know he will be perfect, so. I know.
Oh, I didn't see the grading. Oh,
Like our craft section that we have.
ah. Keep seeing your posts on Facebook, Lacey. You
Yeah,
got
I've
some
been,
big things going on.
extremely busy.
Yeah.
I've been gone the last 2 weeks.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
I had 2 back-to-back shows.
So this is, I mean, this is the beginning of craft season, right?
Yeah, and election season.
Why would that bother you?
I need to know how many loads on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, you know, was it red dirt? Okay, okay, and he put down 2 different truck numbers. He put 141 on Wednesday and 51 on Thursday. Can you verify that? Okay, and can you tell him he no longer uses the copy? Okay, I appreciate you getting back with me. Okay, you take, bye. Yeah. Thank you.
Get the right ear, yeah. Yeah, that was right. That has to be correct. Yeah, none of us will be. To my knowledge, we've never scheduled the meeting on Saturday.
Which one? Do I have a meeting scheduled on Thursday?
No, you don't. It's just a typo.
Oh, okay.
It was in
The minutes.
the minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I said, I'm gonna make that yesterday.
Okay.
You guys
I don't think we.
wanted to work on Saturday, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I know you do,
Yeah.
but not
Not,
at choice.
no, and hopefully not for a small election.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you would let me know when you're willing to.
Okay.
I'll turn these on.
Okay,
at that.
perfect. I think that's a good idea. We still have 4 minutes. And Max isn't here yet. We've got a bunch of stuff to do here.
Well,
It's not so much.
it's not so much, and I'll explain when Max gets here too.
Yeah.
But we had when we did the National Worker Recruitment Day,
Mhm.
I brought in 10 supervisors on that day as well and had them go over all of our forms with us. So, I mean, we said in our.
Refresher.
And we're like, we're making forms that we think work.
Right.
And then we said, does it work?
Yeah.
And so they had edits for us, and so we
Good.
went back and the edits were great.
Good.
And so it's just, that's
Okay.
all it is, so it's
Okay.
not, but that's just, we wanna, like I said, we think, we know what works, but we're the
Right.
ones who are actually filling out.
Absolutely.
The
Sometimes
forms.
that's the best way to,
Mhm.
to get the form refined.
Yep.
Because you can look at it sometimes plenty of times
Yeah.
and you get so used to it
Yeah.
that you have blind spots.
Well, and, we don't think about how often they do it, and we know the information that needs to be on there.
Right.
But how does it need to be laid out?
Yeah.
And they also see the voter's response to it,
Oh,
like the
right.
voter might look at it and be like, am I supposed to do this?
Mhm.
But then the poll worker's like, no, that's my part.
Oh,
So-
right.
They will be here for about 3 minutes. So, or 3 minutes.
I was gonna
3
say, that's not
hours.
3 hours. Wow.
Would,
It's
Good for
like-
them. Yeah, I was gonna say, they're really quick.
Yeah,
See those things and get the changes made.
yeah, so it was, and then so I just threw those in.
Yeah.
Just for you guys to see,
That's-
we're
I
gonna
think that's
test them
Yeah.
at this election.
Yeah. Refine as you go. Lumens.
Yeah. And did we have to work to give him?
yes,
Okay.
I didn't know, I keep reading that big watch time,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and that little, black box.
It needs to have a little gold around it or something.
Says, hey, Jim.
So if you come down here the next meeting, then there's gonna be a little sticker on that. Stand
Thank you.
here.
There you go. Yeah,
This is for Jim.
it will be
You
helpful.
know, I was let in about Lacey and another lady that Anyway. I went back out
Oh.
Okay,
and then I used it when I went to get my phone.
okay.
No, I was thinking.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, putting this on your phone would be helpful. There's certain ways to put ID on here.
Oh.
The state of Arkansas has not gotten the driver's license yet. But other states do have your driver's license on your phone.
And they're working on, the state of Arkansas is working on that because, it's been, I almost think that it's soon they're gonna have.
Oh, is that right?
And this was one time where election law was proactive
Oh,
because it had been being discussed about digital IDs.
yeah.
And they changed the election ID law to include digital
Oh, wow.
IDs before we even had them.
Surprise, surprise.
I-
Wow.
Normally
Way to
it's
go.
catch up, but this.
Good morning.
This was one
Welcome.
time.
We are ready to begin. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Been a while.
Yes, it has. We were talking about that. It's
Yeah.
been a month and we were all kind of rusty here.
Yeah,
Is the video gonna work or what? Okay, let's start out with the minutes from the previous meeting. And there is one change on the next meetings at the bottom. A typo, just make that September the 7th.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, the rest of it looks good to me.
Yes, and
Okay, all right, we'll accept the minutes as presented with that one change. And we'll move on to approving ballots for the November 14th election. Jennifer?
Okay, so This is the ballot, you have the absentee ballot, with the names in the correct order, based on the ballot draw. The only thing, we obviously removed the color that we had presented the last time. And then we simplified the language at the top where it says official ballot and the date. So it's not duplicating things, which was some of the discussion that the commission had at the last meeting. So this would be the ballot that absentee voters would receive, and then you have the proof of the ballot that will be for in-person voting. And we will also, according to state law, the new state law, once the commission approves these ballots, we will send the ballot proofs and the list of districts in or precincts in this district to all the candidates
Oh,
for
good.
for them to view. We do not have to wait on approval back from the
Oh,
candidates.
yeah.
But it is a new state law, so you will go ahead and send that to the candidates as well.
It's more of a safety feature for them as far as knowing that their name is spelled correctly, right?
Yeah, and that was the idea behind
It's courtesy.
that was the idea behind the law, was to allow a candidate, especially when you have so many candidates on the ballot,
Yeah.
an opportunity to actually get to see their name on the ballot.
Right.
And so, we'll be, making sure that we follow through with that, but we do not have to, that's one key part of it. You don't have to wait for their approval to proceed.
Yeah.
The only question I have is, after David, D period, Phillips, Catherine, M period, Sigler, S, no period, Robert Smith, I
Yep.
guess Robert Smith just didn't put in a
He
period
did not.
behind the S on the candidate filing.
Now, when he filed, those are always tricky,
Yeah.
and when you have a small ballot, it becomes noticeable. And so we always look at it and we're like, is that a mistake on our end?
Right.
But if you'll see,
Yeah,
he does not
clearly,
have a period after,
clearly no period.
right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And
And it's in several places, so it's
Right.
not
Yeah.
a thing where you just go, well, maybe he just left it out in one spot.
this happens more than you think.
Yeah.
It just, like I said, on a full ballot, it is much less than.
Mhm.
All right, so. This is what you send candidates.
That's what will be sent to the candidates along with, the precincts by district, if you'll have that.
Yeah.
And that's what will be sent to the candidates. One of the part of the new law said that you were required to send a ballot for every district or every style to the candidates.
Wow.
Yeah. That would be, that would be a lot. So
Oh, my
my
goodness.
suggestion had been, when they were crafting this law, is there's a report that runs out of the system that shows how the candidate names are put on the ballot. That would be much simpler
Yeah.
to send, rather than trying to send, especially for, let's say, like a Supreme Court candidate.
Mhm.
So that's
Oh,
kind of
gosh,
straight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's what we'll send to the candidates for them to approve. or to see.
Great.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the ballot as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Proceed.
And the next part, this brief part,
Uh-huh.
this part that I had to, this is just a continuation of us looking at the express vote ballot and the barcodes. So this is a layout of the absentee ballot that shows the grids, the rows and columns. And then when we scan the ballot itself, that it shows up as that. And so that was just something that we're gonna continue to look at and continue to, have available.
And let's explain, you've got over here on the left side, the little square is 26, we're in the first column, 26 is the line. And 11, I don't remember what.
Is
11
the sheet, or it's the front of the ballot, the side sheet, side one.
Oh, yeah,
And
okay, that's
then,
right.
and then the other one is page one, basically. So we only have one
Right,
side.
on this
and-
one.
Yeah,
So
so
they're all 11s.
exactly. So when we scan the barcodes on the ballots, the express vote ballots, that little barcode should match this exactly. And so we've already done a little pre-test
Okay.
on that to make sure that it matches. And then this ballot detail listing report that runs, it also shows it for every precinct,
Oh, good.
what it should be, and that all matches.
Super.
Well, that's great.
We just need to really get that out.
And where does this proof, is it just for us, or is it?
So, I mean, I can put as much of this information online. It's always available to the public if they have questions for us, but it is something that I can develop for us to put online. And so if voters have questions, they can refer to this first, and
Yeah.
then we're there to answer questions.
There'd be a specific question about barcodes
Mhm.
and.
How do we know the barcode matches the name of the person I voted
Secret
for?
in that barcode.
Yeah.
And it's so basic.
It
The
is.
explanation, did it for the record,
Yeah.
it's so, the technology is not sophisticated.
No,
If someone asks this at a voting place, I don't trust this barcode.
mhm.
Will there be something there for the election personnel to take it to? So this is.
Yes, so that's one of the things we've been thinking about. Obviously, for a small election like this, we can do this on a small level and actually have paper documents. When it gets to the primary and the general election, this report that follows that with the rows and the columns is over 600 pages long. And I imagine for the primary, it'll be 3 times as long, but we can save it as a PDF. And then we can save the individual paper ballots, the absentee ballots with the rows and columns on them. Save those. We have to have we have a little, basically just not a computer, but a tablet that has the list of all the voters.
Yeah.
And it has also the regular sample ballots. We can put this on there as well.
So, one more question, if you just determined, if it was determined that we wanted to post something like this at the voting locations, would it be reasonable to create like we do for, check and accuracy, create some names and,
I don't know, for this election, it's super easy to do.
I know,
For to scale it, like for a general election, let me back up.
Well,
Are you asking like a,
not for that election, an example.
an example? Yeah, no, we can always do
Yeah,
that.
an
If you want
example,
to have this, an example, and then you can say, look, you can scan from your phone that barcode,
Mhm.
and here's what it'll tell you.
Yep.
And here's how it works.
Mhm.
A perpetual example that you,
Yeah.
like how barcodes work or something like that.
Simplifying it, so,
Yeah. Sure,
No, we can
that's a good
definitely do that.
idea. Rather than doing something for every single election.
right,
Yeah,
right,
gosh, that
every
makes-
single candidate.
yeah, yeah.
But now this report that we run is automatically in there.
Yeah,
I mean, we
Right.
This one.
yeah, that is automatically created. So for us doing that, lets a voter actually take their express vote ballot, scan it, and if they looked at this report and we could put this report online, then they just need to find their precinct and they'll see what their row and column is.
I think that's probably a good thing to have available.
Yeah.
If somebody is concerned, you give them a link and you say, look here, and you can confirm that this barcode states your candidate.
Yeah. And we'll do something just basic where we can do like candidate A, candidate B, candidate C. Because when you get into trying to use names and stuff like that, then people are like, why that name, why not that name?
Yeah,
So I'm
Exactly.
thinking,
Oh. Yes, we can. So you're jumping ahead, but. So, one of the things that we did yesterday and it's in your packet, that we did for, the letter that we give to provisional voters at the polls on election day to know when to come to the meeting, and because we'll be here at the road department. I asked Lacey to create a QR code that they just scan, and it goes straight to Google Maps, straight to how to get to the road department.
yeah.
So it's easy. So the voter gets this letter. There's an example of it in your packet today. The voter gets the letter, scans the QR code, and it goes straight to there. If we prepare this kind of sample, we can put a QR code on it that will then take them straight to our webpage that has the more detailed
Yeah,
information on it as well.
and they don't even have to worry about a link and such. The
They
bottom
can
is
just
will do it.
scan, yeah, they can just
Okay.
scan the QR code.
so if they didn't want to stand, stay there and look through all this stuff and find and confirm that the barcodes were doing what they're supposed to do and so on and so forth. What would be the easiest way to, take a picture of your ballot
Mhm,
on your phone,
mhm.
Mm,
and then you can take that picture and you can scan those barcodes.
Yep, you sure can.
You can do it at home and you can find this report there.
Mhm,
You can show them on the wall how it works.
mhm.
And it's like, you can go and look at all of the
yeah,
election, the whole election candidate and see
Every candidate, every precinct,
every one of your votes.
Yep.
Make sure it's voting for the right person.
Okay.
Good.
yeah, that's excellent.
Yep. So, yeah, when Lacey's got how she lays out things, she created this little QR code for us. And we can do the same thing, and we're gonna do it for a lot of different things. Anytime we do anything where we hand anything out, we can create one for early vote sites,
Mhm.
election day sites, list of candidates, so we're gonna utilize this a
I
lot
see some of
more.
us old people, QR codes are scary.
They're not scary.
I was gonna say, you're opening up a whole can of worms with that.
It's in my business.
Yeah,
I know,
It's
but
one,
you're so smart.
I know people that are probably older than you that use them
yeah.
regularly.
You'll make
But
Oh, my goodness.
for things, especially things how we pull in, especially here, we pull in a lot of younger voters
Yeah.
from the college.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Especially during big elections, I think it'll benefit.
Yeah.
I think you get this, the truth about barcodes out, and that information is spread. Eventually that issue will probably go away.
Yeah, well, QR codes, if you notice on your TV, they're happening
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
They're,
Well,
So they're becoming much more ubiquitous.
And at restaurants. A lot of
Yeah,
times they don't even
that's
hand out
right.
menus anymore.
That's right,
It's just
yeah.
scan the QR
Scan
code.
it in and
To get your
put
menu.
it on your phone.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. I'm glad y'all are doing that and anything that helps the voter build their confidence that everything is on the up and up is what we want. Transparency at every point. Okay, next item, notice of election for the November 14th election.
So, the notice of election will have our, who we're voting for, the precincts, the vote centers, early vote, all of that information on it. when the list of poll workers will be published and where we're going to count absentees. So early voting will be at the county clerk's office. It'll be Tuesday through Thursday because Friday is a holiday. And then Monday, November the 13th, regular office hours, 8 to 4:30. Election day voting for the commission to confirm or to vote on will be Cornerstone Church of Christ, which was Baldwin Church. And then Genesis Church, and then Yvonne Richardson Center. The only other polling location that was located in Ward 1, Ridgeview, is not available for us. So these would be the 3 sites available to us on election day that are in Ward 1. I did receive a question about polling locations in Ward 1. And if you notice, I've got a map of what Ward 1 looks like. And then there's another little Google map to the back. There was concern that we were closing one, which is Ridgeview, but it's kind of in the center.
Where is it?
So Ridgeview, if you look on the Google map,
Yeah.
it is, you see how it kind of has a Y? This is Ridgeview, this one right here.
Oh, yeah, that
Okay.
you marked out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other 2 is Yvonne and Genesis. So those voters have an easy go to Ridgeview and to Yvonne Richardson Center. And then, of course, Baldwin. I didn't include Baldwin because it's so far. Baldwin is so far out.
Wait, so Ridgeview is the one that we're not opening because they're not
Right,
available.
they're not available.
Where's Cornerstone? I'm trying to.
Cornerstone is not on the Google map, but
Okay.
Cornerstone is way up here.
Got it.
Cornerstone
Got it.
is for
Got it.
really meant for these voters out in this area.
Got it.
So the one that we're not closing is the one that's kind of in the middle, but Yvonne Richardson Center and Genesis are relatively close. They're less than 5 miles away. And I don't think that opening an alternative site
To Ridgeview.
to Ridgeview
Yeah.
makes sense for this election. I'm not sure where we would open one at, but also your voter turnout is considerably lower for a special election, and a new polling site open for a special election. I don't know that it, we would get even voters to go to that
Because
location.
it's a one-time thing.
It's one time.
Small election. It's hard to notify voters.
Right.
For a one-time small
Right,
election.
right. So
where
we
it's
will
gonna be-
post signage at Ridgeview
Okay.
saying that it is closed for voters to go to Yvonne or to Genesis. Both of those churches or both of those vote centers are, close distance to
Yeah.
Ridgeview. But the other question that I had received also was that we don't have any polling locations open across College on the west side of Ward 1. But we don't traditionally have any open in that area. I looked at Sane, which would be one of the closest ones to this area. It's not obviously in Ward 1, but I looked back at the general election information and only, I think, 42 voters from Ward 1 actually voted at Sane. So
In the general.
so it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
They still didn't have another location.
No,
out
there's
there.
not. There isn't anything that we
They
open.
came to.
They all come, they're used to coming to Genesis. And the question was, do we look at polling locations? I think it's a bigger question than just this election, but for growth. And
How many people live in that area would be my question.
there's
How many registered voters are what?
There's a lot, but they vote at Genesis. Genesis is their assigned polling location.
Do they all vote there, or is there somewhere up in Ward 4 in a general or somewhere else where they would?
Well,
vote?
that's what I looked to see if they were
Yeah.
voting at Sane,
Yeah.
and they're not.
um,
They're voting at Genesis. Genesis is a busy polling location for us because I looked at the numbers yesterday to look and see. But most of them, I mean, it's a large number. are voting at Genesis, or they early vote.
Yeah.
I mean, this area early votes, so, but just something for us to think about. I don't know if it's meant for this election, but for future elections, if there is a need. But most of the voters at Genesis are to the west of there, and there's not a lot of options.
Have we had, in recent history, decade or so, as you know of, a just Ward 1 payable special election?
We had a runoff election. 2020, I believe. And the vote is either 2020 or 2018, when Team Drake comes. We had a runoff election for that one.
Did we have a voting location on that list?
No, no. We did. These are our traditional places that are open for this, I mean, for Ward 1, I guess, essentially. But also for the city of Fayetteville, for the general election, for any election, for school elections, these are our normal ones that we're opening.
That's satisfactory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to ever thinking about or looking into opening another location. If the voters and the numbers warrant it, you know, I don't know, I guess I don't know if they do or not.
What's our expected,
You know, this is
turnout of vote in this election? Do you-
I would think less, I would think around 2,000. But a lot of them will early vote,
So
because
that 42 represents a very small fraction of the 42. that-
yeah, most of them vote inside Ward 1 at their assigned polling locations.
I mean, I would agree if we were ever thinking about doing it, it would be part of the larger conversation that we were gonna do it all, right?
Yeah.
For every election.
And
that
you
other people
say-
in the city could vote here, you know.
But
I don't-
the other side of it is that, anytime we have an election that only deals with a certain section, small, special election, where it is, or runoff, or whatever. If there's a large part of that area, in case Ward 1, that doesn't have, an accessible voting location, should we look at something close by there? And I think that's the essence of the question.
Yeah, I agree. And if the answer had been, well, those folks don't vote at Genesis normally, they vote up at Sang or some other location, then I'm with you.
Yeah.
It seems more likely that we should open another location.
I agree too, and I also thought too, now if Genesis had been the location that was going to be closed, we would have needed to find.
Yeah.
Because Genesis is
Yeah.
the heart
Uh-huh.
of that area. It's the location where voters who don't have access to transportation and all of that, that's where they vote at. And so we would have need to have looked for a different place. So we were fortunate that of the locations that weren't available to us, it was
So
Ridgeview.
it's prime.
Genesis will be the prime location, yes.
Yeah, we've never really opened much else that's down there. And
No.
The only thing that we've opened that's even close. I don't know if the bud's available, you know, the hogs are gonna be different here, just in the future, just throwing it out there.
So, yeah.
It's a fun location.
And then, so I don't know if the commission needs to, when you sign this document, when you're signing it, you're agreeing to these three
That these three,
locations.
yeah, and the county clerk's office.
Right. The other thing is, we're going to just count absentee ballots on election day. I don't anticipate a large amount of absentee ballots. So we'll just process those on election day, and we'll do that and count at the sheriff's annex. So I think if the commission,
I will entertain a motion to approve the notice of election as presented.
Second.
All in favor of the notice of election as presented? Aye.
that would be the one, or you can sign that one with your one, they're all the same.
Okay, I'll
So, yep.
I appreciate you giving us those inside scoops there,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's worth knowing. Right, next item is logic and accuracy.
So we will actually start logic and accuracy next week, our in-office one, just going through and testing, and then of course, I still call it the South Campus, but our warehouse will be doing the main equipment, but by law, we're required to have a public testing of the voting equipment, and that date I have is for October the 18th. It's not necessarily election commission meeting. It's just when we would.
You're gonna be over it.
Test. Yes, and so I thought going forward, it's always published in the newspaper, and we've done that, but it's probably something nobody ever sees. It's back in the legal section. But I thought for the future is to go ahead and put it on our calendar, on the county calendar, go ahead and send out, that, hey, we're doing this.
You might have a
And
person or two show.
we might, and that would be great. And so, October the 18th, we'll do it here in our office. And if anyone wants to come in and see kind of how we do the LNA, and, vote their own ballot and vote it and see, and they can confirm.
Wait, you said October the 18th, this says October the 24th.
That's for the commission to meet to
Oh, okay.
approve LNA.
Oh, that's certain.
That's your
Okay,
certification.
all right.
This is the public test,
Okay.
when the public can come in and after you don't really, we're open for
Yeah.
everything, but LNA, when we do it, it's where we find mistakes. So
Right.
you don't really need the public in there watching you make a
Yeah.
mistake, and then they have to sit back and they're like, okay, what's going on?
What else is wrong?
Exactly, so we go through LNA and make sure that LNA
Yeah.
is all complete, that everything is working correctly, and then we do a public test.
Right,
And so I've set that date as October the 18th.
okay.
But 24th for us.
Yes, the 24th for the commission to sign all the documentation.
Okay. Super.
Yes.
What time?
Yeah, 10:30,
On the 18th.
yes. But I will go ahead, I think, start posting that along with all of our general information of what we're doing.
Cool. Any questions on that? Election coordinator training,
So,
this is where we do designate you to, this is the Little Rock thing, right?
yes. So if the commission chooses to select me to go to Little Rock for coordinator training, this would be the document that I need signed to submit for Little Rock.
Okay, cool.
For the SBC. Now, I didn't select a date on there because I'm going down the Monday. We're doing basically a round table discussion for the more experienced coordinators. And so I will be part of the Monday session, and then we'll stay for the remainder of the training
Do
session.
you need an alternate as well?
No, I don't think so, unless one of these two, they no.
Gotta go to Little Rock. I can hear Lacey's right there in line.
Sure. They promised they would hold down the office here.
Okay. Yep, let us know how that goes with your roundtable discussion. There's lots of questions.
Well, it'll be nice because I think there's only 12 of us, and so it'd be like Kim and Megan
Yeah,
and Jennifer, who's the coordinator in Craighead County, and Linda. So some of the mostly coordinators who've been through at least 2
Right.
presidential elections. So yeah, so it'll be a nice.
Cool deal. Okay, train the trainer designee.
Okay, now this one I gave them no options. So this designates basically myself, Lacey, Debbie, and Tanya as trainers for the poll worker training that we will conduct in the end of January.
Okay,
So we need signatures on. both.
On both of those, yes. And we will actually host that session with the SBEC.
Oh,
on
they're coming
November
up.
30th.
okay.
That's one nice thing about being a host county. We get to coordinate the dates. So, and your training, I haven't seen any emails, but it's October the 11th. So just note that for yourself.
Oh,
And if
okay.
for some reason we couldn't make that, there's probably
Online.
like watch it online, watch it deal.
Well, did you say that, the SBEC was coming? I mean, it's not just us at the Sheriff's Annex, it's a bunch of counties, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But I haven't seen any emails sent out yet, and I don't know if maybe you had gotten them.
I haven't gotten
anything.
So,
Imagine they're scrambling down there.
I think they have them all set. It's just, I think, getting it out. That will be an all-day event.
I was gonna say, how long is it gonna go on?
Yes, all day.
From now, anything?
all day,
Yeah. Yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No problem.
Well, in the past, I remember him being like
A
2
couple
or
hours?
3 hours.
Yeah,
I think last time we went till 3 o'clock.
was it till 3?
Yeah, and it'll have lunch, we'll have lunch served, and you'll have to take a test.
Oh, the test.
Well, we got a hand.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
They didn't want you to fail that test.
That's right.
They were in town, wrong.
Is
Fail that test.
Chris gonna administer the test and
I have not seen who is creating the test or what's on the test yet, so.
oh, I'm having flashbacks to that.
But I thought, since we're the host county, I would just do nukes again, because they gave a lot of options for people to order. And so I'll arrange all of that.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Oh, we have to do it, right?
Yep.
Okay, update on 2024 early vote and election day sites.
So we have been working through all the locations, and I think we do want to schedule a meeting where we can just go over this stuff more in depth, and we have full final answers from a lot of places. So most of our early vote sites are good. I don't have a list or anything in here.
Okay.
Just because we're still
Yeah.
working our way through it.
Yeah.
Some of the sites, Bud Walton, that we're really scrambling. We think it may be available for the March election, but they're doing renovations come November, October.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So I am working with the university to try and figure out an alternate location.
Is there anywhere at the football stadium?
We're working through, so I'm working with the university, and what I would like to do ideally is whatever location we open in the fall is the same location we open.
Yeah.
Even though I know, but
Yeah.
I know Bud Walton is great,
Yeah.
but I think just to get voters like, hey, Bud Walton's not gonna be here in November, it would be really nice if the February site was the same. So we're kind of working through possible location for that.
Worst case, at least you had it for March.
Worst case, yeah,
Figuring it out. for
yeah,
November.
and we would be.
Yeah.
And, and construction delays.
Oh,
Are
gosh,
always-
yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
gotta consider them.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that, and I'm gonna confirm this, but there's a 60-day deadline of when we have to select the polling sites. But the SBEC, and I'll confirm with Daniel, that he says that you can't take away sites from that 60 days. So if we set the sites 60 days before, all of those sites that we said are gonna be open have to be open in case it's set for some type of emergency.
Emergency.
If we wanted to add a site, then we can add a site before it's published in the paper, which is 20 days before the election. So that gives us just a tiny bit more breathing space. Like, for instance, if a site was like, hey, we don't know what our construction, it may or may not be, because 60 days out is quite a ways out. So
Yeah.
that gives us just a tiny bit more flexibility. I wouldn't want to do that obviously with election day sites, but with early vote sites, it's just a tiny bit more flexibility on some of our early vote sites. So our best ballpark is the same thing. They may have construction in February, but they will be available for us for the general. And so those are some of the things we're nailing down. The Fayetteville Library is confirmed that they would be available for us. Walton Arts Center, won't be available for us in the spring, but will be available for us in the fall. Rise Physical Therapy is still available for us for both elections. So we're just kind of working through their calendars, our calendars and our needs. And so we'll have a better picture of what we'll have.
So on this ballpark, we know we have it for general,
Yes,
maybe not in February.
maybe not in
What about
February.
other Springdale locations?
So we've looked at American Legion, we've discussed it. I will be setting up a visit at the Gem Center, and I'll let you know when I do that. City Hall, there's a possibility we could look at the Springdale City Hall, because one of their big renovations that they were doing was they were talking about having meeting spaces. But I need to look at like how close proximity is that.
They're right
to
across the street from American.
American Legion, so it may, that may not
But
make
we-
sense.
Get one of them.
That I was gonna say.
American
that
Legion,
compliment.
yeah, American Legion, I know that we have available.
Okay.
That one has been confirmed to me. The other one we're going back to is the Civic Center. I know that they're now open on Fridays and Saturdays, but what if we did limited voting there during the middle of the week? So we've gone back to
In
Civic.
addition to it,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah, so we're,
because we used to have the rodeo open
right.
Right.
all 2 weeks,
Where's
Right.
Civic Center?
right?
It is down the road from the radio on 265.
Just down from 265 and 412, kind of on that, like a block
Okay,
southeast of that intersection.
good area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of traffic.
And we had
Yeah.
great turnout when we had it open in 2020 because he was closed down.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who
Oh,
voted there.
it was incredible.
Okay.
But then once it was lifted, it's rented out Fridays and Saturdays, but I've asked to see what about maybe Monday through Thursday or something along those lines. So
So they couldn't do the weekends, so
it depends. We've gone back to them to
it'd be
say
great if they could have one weekend in,
the
right?
first Saturday.
If
would
you
be
could do
great.
at least a whole week there,
Mhm, yeah.
seems like that'd be
Yeah.
great.
So we're working through all the different locations, all the different timeframes that they might have available for us. Lincoln is still a question because I know they're going to build a new community center. When will it be built? The Masonic Lodge, while it was a wonderful location for us because they were willing to host us, is not big enough for election day. So we're trying to come up with an alternative space in Lincoln. And I am scheduling a meeting with the library there, which is on the square. We looked at the VA there and there was another building we looked at, but they have like a consistent something on Friday nights or on Saturday, so their availability is not always there for us. So those are some of the challenges that we're working through on trying to find certain locations. So, yeah.
So, you wanted to set a meeting for us to go over these, but I mean, obviously, you're not yet ready to do.
Well,
that.
and that's why I wanted to kind of put this on our radar because the 60 days for us selecting our locations is actually January the 5th.
So we gotta get it all nailed down in December.
Yeah,
At the very
People are gonna
latest,
be
yeah,
out.
yeah.
yeah. So we're working on both election day and early vote.
Okay.
Election day is a lot more straightforward for us, but early vote is trickier because some locations
Yeah.
are like, yes, we can fully commit, or there's a day here or there, like Elmdale. We're gonna be having a juggle schedule there
Oh,
because
really?
Wednesday, they now have a new program. And we're gonna have to shut down early on Wednesday afternoons at Elmdale, like at 4 o'clock. So we'll get almost the whole day.
Yeah.
And then we'll shut down for 2 hours at Elmdale, and then we'll have to go back in and set back up to be ready for
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, right.
But those are all challenges we can work to, you know, so, those are the kind of things. But with January the 5th being our deadline to have the commission
Right,
make their
right.
final choices,
Yeah,
I do think having a meeting, the early part of October
sure, I agree with that.
would
Can we get it done by
Yeah.
then?
we're pushing,
Okay.
we're like, you know, we did our soft like push out of like, hey, these are the dates that we
Right,
need,
right.
you know, and then kind of, you know, sit back and let people come back to us. And then now we're gonna do the hard, like,
Yeah.
you know, pick up the phone and say, hey, we sent you this and we haven't heard back from you.
Right.
Most of our early vote sites we've heard back from, so
Okay.
that, you know,
Okay.
that's just,
So those are pretty much nailed down.
yeah, we've heard back from them in the sense that, yeah, we've got you on our calendar, or we may have some conflicts or and those
So
those
round
kinds of
two.
things.
Okay.
Right, of we're working through all of those. So I don't know in October, what you're available. The 11th is your CBEC training.
All right.
Okay,
And the 12th, we are actually doing a mock election for Alliance for Disability Advocacy Group
cool.
at the library, so we won't be available on the 12th. But
So we're meeting.
then we're
the
meeting the 24th,
24th,
but I really would like for us to
meet
have
before that,
meet before I just feel like it becomes overwhelming
yeah.
when we try and tackle too much of
Yeah.
it. So I don't know if we want to try and meet the week before, because then when we come back on the 24th, I can answer any questions that the commission might have had, before we meet again on the week.
Maybe we should do it the first week in October.
Okay.
I don't. I can't.
And it looks like the 14th, 15th, and 21st are the other meetings we need to be at, right? Of November, sorry. I'm just looking at.
I was like,
To make sure the
okay.
ones,
Yes.
to make sure I have the ones. where
Oh,
I have
yeah.
to be Here.
Page 4.
November 14th, November 15th, and November 21st. So we need to be here.
Yeah, I think maybe the first week of October might be the better time.
Good.
So what about Thursday, the 5th of October? Does that work? Because that gives me enough, because I'll be gone that whole last week of September.
Okay,
So.
oh, that's right,
So I'll be in Little Rock.
yeah,
But so that would give me a chance to come back and then follow up with staff with anything and then prep for a meeting for the 5th if you wanted to do that.
it's not gonna press you too far.
No, I don't think that will.
Okay,
You're proposing October.
Good.
Yeah. I should probably be. That would probably be the morning of.
and that would be our next meeting,
Yes,
That
yeah.
would be
9 o'clock. Jim, what's that look like for you?
Good.
Okay,
cool. Let's do it.
Alright.
And that way I can have, basically I can bring out a spreadsheet with the dates that sites are available, when they're not available for early vote. That's the harder one.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we need to get these nailed down.
Yeah, great.
Sooner the better. Right, so we'll meet on October the 5th at 9 a.m. Other business.
I have just, before we get into that paperwork,
Okay.
I do have Shredlet coming to, pick up
Okay.
election materials. I have put on this because we're not able to get them to come last year because they're scheduling, they're sending a truck and all of that, so I have them coming. So, and they've sent a contract, so I'm gonna go ahead and have the election commission say that this is for the destruction of election materials. And I put in here elections from 2018 to August 2021. We don't have but a few things left over from 2018. A lot of it was like paperwork from my office after the flood and we moved down here. I was like, I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
keeping this. I have obviously not been in these boxes for a while, but this is the contract. For them to come and pick it up and they will take it off
Oh, okay.
site and destroy it. So if I could get your signatures on that.
I need them to come to my house.
I know.
It's awful. Which is why I'm gonna leave some of this stuff here.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And I notice your briefcase is getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, it always does. I need a nice
You haven't had-
long.
yeah.
election night where I can clean it out.
You need the shredded paper.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay, when is that gonna happen, by the way? I didn't.
I was trying to get it for next week, but they have trucks that come and pick it up and she's had a truck break down and then fix
Oh,
and
no.
then so. But at least I have it on their calendar and everything, so. I'm hoping
Soon.
soon.
Yeah, that'll give you some space.
It will, yes, which we desperately need, to get rid of all of those materials, so, yeah, so. And then the other stuff, I just wanted to just briefly, show you these things. One was the QR code for the letter that we'll give to the voters. That way it should be easy for them to find our office for the provisional ballot hearing. The other is this provisional
That's
ballot
great.
card.
Yeah.
I've added the phone number and email address to the card and have removed it from the provisional ballot envelope because it occurred to me that we're scanning the front of these envelopes now, which makes them voidable. And if voters are putting their phone number and email
Yeah.
on this document, we would have to go in and redact it from
Would we
every,
have to, or really, it would just be kind of public?
but
I
that's
mean, is
the
there anything
thing.
requiring, I'm not saying,
We're not-
I'm not saying we should be.
We're not required to collect their phone number or their email address,
Yeah.
but I think when a voter fills this out, they're not thinking that all of a sudden their document is voidable with their phone number and their email address.
Sure, yeah,
So what I've done is removed it from the front of the voter envelope and placed it on this card that they have to fill out.
Is this the front of the?
This is the front of the envelope, which we don't scan.
yeah,
And if it were to be requested, it would be easier for us to redact it
Right.
like this.
yeah, that seems
Than
good.
to go back in through all of those scans to redact, their phone number and email address. The other thing I did to the envelope was at the very bottom, it's got this little county clerk certification. Because we're having to scan these and send these to the clerk. instead of the clerk having a separate piece of paper she fills out to scan and send back to us,
Mhm.
why not just make it part of the envelope? If it's one scan, she prints it, fills it out, it has all the information on it that she needs, and then she sends it back, so we're not
Keep it all together.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's a great idea.
So, and then the letter that the voter gets, that's the last page. So that one document that the clerk scans also had or filled out, also had the place for the commissioners to sign. So I'm going to just include this on the letter that we actually send to the voters and have those prepared, so when the commission is signing this, it will already be pre-populated with the voter's name, the reason, and now the commission will just sign the letter and that all goes out. We'll make copies of it, but then that's just one thing to send out to the voter rather than two pieces of paper.
Man, that's great. Great job.
So
Will you send any of this to the state?
I'm taking it with me.
There you go.
With me at the end.
I just really think we're gonna have to start trademarking
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I agree, charging them for,
Cause you know they're gonna use it.
oh, for sure, and the other counties, no, this is great,
Yeah.
good job.
And then the other stuff you've seen before, the big change we made with some of the forms. I asked the supervisors to come in, about 10 of them, to go over every form with us to see how they could be better at the polls. And they wanted a separation between what they did and what our staff did. Or for voters, what the voters to fill out and what the election official is to fill out. And so basically that's the main change to any of these documents, is defining who is filling out what part of it. But that's something we met for 3 hours with them and it was great
So,
to go over everything, and, hopefully make it better for our poll workers, our supervisors, but also because the record keeping is much more intensive now, and documentation and the chain of custody, and this, I think, it helps us in that, so.
yeah, that's great, man, the poll workers and the supervisors, so helpful.
Yeah.
We should have I don't know if we do this, but like
Poll worker appreciation. or
yeah,
Supervisor
exactly.
appreciation.
Yeah, exactly, something like that, or when people stop doing it, some
Mm.
sort of like a formal letter that thanks them for their service, and it's a fancy letter, like it's got a seal on it and, like something they can
Right.
frame or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we should do something.
people like stuff like
People
that.
do like stuff like that. We would do stuff like that when I worked at the lieutenant governor's office, and people appreciated it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
official seal
Sure.
and something
Do we
nice,
have an
but.
official seal?
As an election commission, we don't, but the
Yeah.
county.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, you should think about doing something like
Yeah.
that.
I
Just
agree.
an appreciation or,
Yeah, so, because I know we've seen obituaries too from some of our past poll workers. And
Oh, yeah,
They mentioned it, yeah.
yeah.
They're,
it is.
Worked 21 years for
Exactly.
the election.
So no, I agree.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
agree.
Yeah.
Then, and it does become a big part of their lives. So
Definitely.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's look into that in your spare time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry, they're used to me coming in with, I have this idea. The QR code was my idea yesterday. I was like, "Lexi, can you make a QR code?
It works, that's the direction, that's great.
It's pretty
That's
neat, isn't
great.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. it's
Yeah.
great.
And now, is that going on our website? So make it part of the, where all of the locations,
So I can take it like this one,
Uh-huh.
I can take any link, so if we
Okay.
want to go to a specific page on our website.
Yeah.
I can make it go to that,
okay,
so if you just want it to list those sites,
yeah,
I can make it go to that.
okay. I think the more we can use it, the handier it will be for people, and there's probably 1,000 different a million different applications we can put on those.
There is now, right now, we are borrowing Lacey's software.
Uh-huh.
sheet because she's a busy,
Yeah, right,
and this was
right.
just like a spur of the moment thing, like, hey, Lacey, because I knew I had seen her do these.
Right.
I said, can you do this? So we can purchase basically what she's
Software.
using. It's
It's
100,
on Canva.
Yeah,
and it would help us with our Facebook posts.
Right.
I've been trying to post more on there
I
and,
know.
It should, it's like $13 a month.
It's-
total.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of purchasing it for our department so that we can start, you know, because we've been trying to post more on Facebook, and I went ahead and did a link for an Instagram account for us too. And the more things we can do, so I was gonna see if the commission feels like that's worth it.
Oh.
absolutely.
Definitely.
Which kind of brings me to another question I was gonna ask. It's September now. How's your budget going?
Oh, yeah, we're in good shape with our budget. I've got the express votes. I've got the contract for those. I've sent those to the judge's office to sign off on those. I will, after I get those ordered, I should be able to go through and get the different things we need, like the wheels for the DS200s. There's another thing I'm looking at for our express votes as well. This goes back to the safety thing. So as I've been listening to all of the talk about the concern about the voting equipment, one of the things was they were talking about LNA testing. And yes, you test on Monday, but then how do you know on Tuesday that no one has messed with the equipment? There actually is on the express vote inside where we don't put thumb drives in there anymore. But there actually is a way to seal that so that no one could put a thumb drive in there without breaking the seal. Some of our express votes have it and some of our express votes don't have it. So I would ask ES&S, like, what would the cost be to do that? It's just another layer of security. But so they're gonna see what that would cost. But yeah, so far for our budget for this year, we're good. Even with this election, we should be good for poll worker pay.
Okay, so we're not in any kind of a crunch.
No,
Okay. Well, I think the QR software is a great idea. I know you'll find hundreds of other things you can apply it to.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, because because the American Legion has asked me to come and do a talk about elections. And I usually bring materials, and having like that QR code that goes straight to how to apply to be a poll worker.
Well, I was gonna say that same
Oh.
thing. Have a sign that says that, want to be a poll worker.
Yeah,
You got
absolutely.
QR
Big
code.
Yeah.
QR code.
So, yeah, I'm already thinking of
Yeah.
all these different things we can use it for. So, yeah, so, and at $120, I felt like that,
Yeah.
you know, even if it helped one voter find their way here for a provisional ballot hearing, that's a great, I mean,
Yeah, it
that's,
is.
that's
It's a-
great.
Service to the community.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, so.
Good deal. Super. Any other business? Anything from y'all?
Public comment?
I'd just like to say, if you have an extra copy of the maps that you had for the early voting sites for the November,
Oh.
I'd appreciate that, but
Sure.
also, I just want to say how much I appreciate all that you all are doing to keep the public informed, like when you're talking about your Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
That really means a lot to a lot of people to be
Yeah.
able to do that, and I appreciate that you all are talking about that and working on it.
Yeah.
Wish more in the county would do that, but yeah, it's great what you're doing. Thank you, Jennifer.
That map does not, the Google map does not have ball or cornerstone. I've got,
Yeah.
used to calling it cornerstone, does not have cornerstone on there.
Okay,
And it has ridge view on it, which won't be open.
okay,
So just be aware of that.
okay.
I can't even read it with my glasses.
Here, I'll give you my notes, I'm not taking them. I sort of drew where the one not
So
available,
what I do
and then the other three circled.
when I update the website with the polling sites, I also attach the Google link to the
Oh,
address.
that's right.
So when the voter, if a voter's on our website
Yeah.
and they're looking at like what the site is, and they click on the address, it actually goes to the Google map. So I do that for all of the polling sites.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, did you have any? These are just to let us know what
Kind
you've
of what we-
refined.
Yeah, what we've been
Check your spell
doing, okay,
on,
improved.
okay, yeah. Here, you-
Well,
Take
abandoned
those. Yeah, abandon Yeah.
I've also
it. You
learned
copied,
spell, well, and I've also learned spell check doesn't.
it's not reliable,
When it's,
that's right,
alternates.
that's, oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good to know, but I don't use spell check because it's pretty work.
well, I was very consistent in my
You
misspelling
are.
of that word.
Yes, you are.
I'm proud of this.
Yes, well, I figured you just copied and pasted.
No, I apparently.
Your little fingers got in a habit and said, I'm doing it this way regardless. Oh, how
I've
funny.
got wrong 4 times.
No, actually more than 4.
Okay, I did well, 5 times.
I did, that was just a quickie and I didn't look at the other things as closely, but did see those.
We do have several retired school teachers who are poll workers and sometimes they group our work and we get it
That's
back and we're like. Yeah.
I didn't have a red pencil, sorry. Okay, well, I guess if there's no other business from anyone, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Oh, man, this was a longer meeting than. But we'll see you on October 5th.
We will, almost none.